Okay, so this is the same thing that you guys should have pulled up. Did it open? I've been struggling. Like, they changed something in Google Docs and all the Google stuff with how you share it, and I've been struggling. So I'm glad it worked. All right. So to start the year, we usually write a personal narrative. All right, and the way we're going to do it, the assignment is called My Item. All right. So it says this week, and when it says this week, it actually means starting on Monday. But it says this week you'll be writing a narrative piece about an item that is important to you. Because this is a narrative, you may use personal pronouns I and me. Your essay should be formatted in MLA and include the following: a description of your item. How did you attain your item? Be sure to tell an anecdotal story. And why is it important to you? And it needs to be 1.5 pages in length. So what I need you to do between now and Monday, pick an item. It can be literally anything that's school appropriate. Take a picture of it and submit that on where the assignment that says My Item Picture, all right, for points. So anytime between now and Monday. Obviously probably not today in class unless it's in your book bag or whatever. But it literally can be anything. And then next week we're gonna start writing about it. All right, make sense? And I'll send out a couple reminders as well, just because I know it's probably not gonna be on the top of your brain list. So just make sure to get that done. Everybody good with that? All right. I told you on Monday we were gonna start with the standards-based grading, all right? And our first standard is RL 3.1. That's how the fancy wording they use, the state level. You're gonna need a writing utensil here to start the day too, so if you don't have one of those, go ahead and get it. Or if you don't, get one out. If you don't have one, just let me know. All right, so for this first standard, analyze and evaluate how an author's choices concerning how to structure a work of literature or the events within it, and manipulate time, contribute to the overall meaning and effect of the work. All right, so I just want to annotate this real quick to point out the key words. What do you think the key words of this standard are? What words do you think are important? It's right there in front of you too. You can't see quite up here. Somebody just have one word they think is important. Yeah. Analyze. Good. And it's Adriana, right? Okay. So analyze. You can circle it, you can underline it, however you like to annotate it. All right. And so what, in this particular case, what goes along with analyze? Analyze and evaluate. Good. All right. What other words do you think are important? Yeah. Author's choices, Ryan, right? Okay. Author's choices. Anybody else have one? About anything in the second line there. How to structure a work of literature, order events. I think there's probably two important, one's a word and one's a phrase. But that's in the second sentence. What do you guys think?
and staff, we are going to finish up A group IDs today. We're going to finish up the senior class and pick up any stragglers that we have. We started the seniors the other day, so we are at the part of the alphabet F through H, Francis through Harold. Any senior that does not have their ID yet, please come on down, F through H. Thank you.
Yeah. Structure, good.
Teachers, pardon the interruption. If you have students in your class for the first time this morning, please make sure they get their mask. We've had several students show up this morning with no mask and say they did not get them first period. So please make sure that you did not hand those out, you do so. Thank you.
And then what would be the phrase? Order events. Good. If they have stuff in parentheses in general and I'm annotating, I usually just put a star by it because it's usually an example or an explanation. So, all right. You guys good with this? You think we got it for the most part? All right, good. What I would like you to do now is go ahead and flip it over. All right, flip it over. Tomorrow, during e-learning, you're going to start reading the book, The House on Mango Street. And this on the paper is the first chapter, only in The House on Mango Street, they're not called chapters, they're called vignettes. Has anybody heard of the word vignette before? It's a weird one. All right. So a vignette is like a snapshot of what's going on somewhere. All right. So they're very short, but it's like a snapshot in time. And we're going to follow the protagonist Esperanza throughout the story as she tells certain snapshots of her life. And as we go through, we can put those together. The other thing is that since they're not like chapters go in order, each one is kind of like a mini short story too. And so we can look at some of the elements of plot as we go through each vignette. All right? So go ahead and take a couple minutes and just read that vignette.
Attention please, seniors, I through L, India through Louisville, come on down for your IDs.
All right, everybody, get it read. Can somebody give me a brief?
Attention please, seniors last name M through P, Maryland through Pennsylvania, come on down.
A brief summary. So let's start with this. Who's the main character? Who's the protagonist? Esperanza. All right. And what does she talk about doing in this vignette? Moving houses. All right. Roughly how many times does she mention moving if you don't get it perfect? 3 or 4. Yep, good. 4. All right. And how does she feel about each of her houses or places she lives? Yeah. Didn't like any of them. All right. That's the gist. All right. Now, one of the most important things you can do to understand something, especially when it comes to reading, is to reread it. All right. And I know sometimes that feels like a pain, but it's very important. So I want you to reread this, but as you reread it, I want you to annotate, all right? And specifically, as you annotate, I want you to look at the structure and order of events, and specifically flashbacks, all right? So if you find different ways that she orders things, if you find a flashback, mark it up. All right, I'll give you about 5 minutes if you'd like to read this one a little bit quicker. Second time through. So, structure, order of events, flashbacks.
Senior IDs, Q through S, Quail through Sam, come on down. W, Taylor through Warren, please come on down for IDs. Okay, let's have the last group for senior IDs, X through Z, xylophone through zebra, or any other senior that we missed, any other senior straggler. If you do not have your ID picture taken, got your student ID, come on down at this time.
Yeah, that's my email. Everybody good? We get it read? All right. So we're going to talk about the structure here in a second, but to kind of help us with thinking through everything, who are the main characters? Esperanza, obviously. All right, somebody else. Who's another character they mentioned? What do you think? Her mom. Guadalupe, right? Is it Mama? Is that how they put it? Okay. If they talk about Mama, who else do they talk about? Or give somebody else a shot. All right, Jeremiah, what do you think? If they talk about Mama, who else do they talk about? They talk about the mom, they talked about then who goes along with the mom. All right, good. You're not wrong. That's one of her siblings. Who goes along with Mama, though? Dad, thank you. And they call him Papa. All right. Now, with the houses, houses cost money, right? And so, what does Mama say about getting a new house? So it's at the bottom of the, looks like 4th paragraph overall. Yeah. Yeah, so it's when before they're going to bed and she wants her kids to feel better, she kind of tells them the dream story of this house. All right. And then when Papa talks about the house, what specifically does he do right in that same spot? When the better house he wants to buy? What does he hold up to show him? lottery ticket, right? So, what are their chances? What can we infer their chances are of getting a better house? Yeah, not good, right? If you are counting on the lottery to buy a better house, you know, it's not going to happen, or very, 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 very. All right. So we got that. Carlos, who are her other siblings? Is it Kenny? Who else? It's not Kenny. What did you say? Nanny, thank you. I'm like, as I'm writing it, I'm like, that's not right. Nanny, Kiki, and then her. All right. Can you guys read my chicken scratch? It's the best I can do. I apologize. I know it's not pretty. Good. All right. So this is her family. And then they talk about one more character. And this, the what?
The landlord?
You're right. I forgot about that person. They do talk about the landlord.
Oh.
You're right. I just forgot. The nun, right? The landlord is important, and I shouldn't have forgot about him, because he is like forcing them into a lifestyle they don't want to live. Like when you have that many kids, when you have 4 kids, it's like impossible to be quiet, right? How many of you guys have siblings? Even just one? All right. How many of you guys have like a slight argument at least every day? All right. And it gets probably a little bit loud. How many of you guys have little siblings? All right. Do they run around like crazy people every now and again, and it gets loud even for no apparent reason? All right. So I was the youngest, so I was that little sibling. But when I'm watching my niece and nephews and stuff, all of a sudden there's like this noise, and I'm like, how can a little person make that much noise? And so when you have, 4 little people living in an apartment, it's going to be loud, and the landlord gets mad. All right. What is the significance of the nun in Esperanza? So it's right at the end of the vignette. Esperanza's hanging out. What does the nun do? Yeah. Ask her where she lives, right? So a little kid, you see little kids standing on the street, you can guess they're gonna live in the area. And so the nun is like, oh, hi sweetie, where do you live? All right? And so without thinking, what does Esperanza do? Yeah, tells her, oh, I live right there. No big deal. Like, she's just a kid, I live there. But then how does the nun respond? So it's in that second column. Yeah. You live there.
Attention staff, please excuse this interruption. At this time, any grade level, we should have the seniors done, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. If we missed you and you still need to get your student ID, please come down at this time. Any grade level, 9, 10,
Everybody
11,
good?
12, we're picking up all stragglers. Come on down and get your ID.
All right. What's significant about the word there in this passage? Yeah. Judgy voice. Yes, very good. Okay. So Esperanza, just like, oh yeah, I live there. And the nun is like so probably surprised that, the judgy voice is a very good way of putting it. All right. So her tone of voice came through as very demeaning. And as we just talked about having little brothers and sisters, little kids can pick up on stuff and tone very easily. And so how does she make Esperanza feel? When she says, you live there? Yeah. Yeah, insecure right away. All right, very good. Okay. All right, now let's talk about the structure. All right. What literary device does the author use here? It was in the standard as one of the examples. Anybody pick up on it? All right, a flashback. And anybody know the definition of a flashback? What's the definition of flashback? All right, let's try it this way. Is anybody foreshadowing? You guys have heard of foreshadowing, right? And what does foreshadowing do? Yeah, it's going to show what happens in the future. Flashback's the opposite. All right? And so flashback goes and tells you what happened in the past. Okay? So specifically, the part with the nun is a flashback to her past. And then every time she mentions those old apartment, it's a mini flashback. All right? So keep that in mind because it's going to be very, very important as we go here to the assignment. Everybody good with this? Any questions over this vignette? All right. In Canvas, find the assignment called RL 3.1 Mango Structure. All right, when you open the assignment, perfect. All right, there it is. Okay. First, if you just open the assignment and before, so if you open the document, that's fine, but go back to Canvas just for 1 second where the assignment is. So you find the assignment, and then below, do you see where the rubric is? So we have the assignment, and then the rubric down here. All right, this rubric is what I was talking about with the standards-based grading. So you're going to kind of get 2 scores for this assignment. You're going to get the points for doing that, and then I'm going to score you on this to see how we're doing, working towards mastering this particular standard. Does that make sense? All right, so even if you get like a 20 out of 20, you still need to look at the comments and see what you got on that rubric, because that's very important. That's more important to your grade than those 20 points. Okay? Now you can go back to the document real quick. You notice how it's color coded? Analyze, evaluate, meaning, effect. That just goes along with one. It was basically the words that we annotated to begin with, and then as you go through, it talks about those different standards and stuff. All right, it says read pages 3 to 5. This is pages 3 to 5 in the book, and so you can just look at this and you'll be good. Answer the questions below in complete sentences. Make sure for complete sentences we capitalize, we punctuate, and we don't use text talk. So if you're going to use the word you got to spell out Y-O-U. All right? So make sure to take care of those. And then make sure to provide evidence and explanation as needed. Anytime you can provide evidence from the story, you should. All right? So there are 5 questions. Each of them are going to take some typing. And so I'm going to give you 30 minutes to work on this assignment. Okay? If you get stuck, just let me know. If you get done early, you can go and work on IXL. Everybody good? All right, ready, set, go.